Hey, it's Walter Carter from Carter Vintage Guitars with a guitar made by Orville Gibson, founder of the Gibson Company. This is one of Orville's earliest guitars from the 1890s. In the first part of the 1890s, you wouldn't see any guitars like this around Kalamazoo, where Orville was from. The music of that time, the top songs would be like My Grandfather's Clock. There'll be a hot time in the old town tonight, which had just been revitalized with new lyrics to relate to the Chicago fire. Ta-ra-ra, boom-de-ay. These were all, boisterous kind of songs. So it was kind of tough if you were a guitar player at that time, because you didn't have this kind of guitar with steel strings. You had this. This is a 00 size Martin and was the largest size Martin made at that time. It would have been strung with gut strings, would have been fine for a parlor situation, but was a pretty soft guitar. Orville Gibson, he was a guitar player. The one picture that survives of him with an instrument, he's playing a Martin guitar. He was a member of these young men's social groups in Kalamazoo, and they would put on musical comedy kind of shows. With a guitar like that, he couldn't be heard. He's looking for some other way to build a better guitar. The idea had to have been in the air. All guitars are flat top. All violins and bowed instruments have a curved top. So Orville decided to adapt the arch top concept to guitars and mandolins. So there's not a huge arch, but it allows the top to support itself with no bracing or just minimal bracing. In the style of the day, he anchored the strings to the top. Most of the arch tops you see today are going to have a higher bridge. He went with a flat back, and that's a huge difference from guitars today. But I think the idea was probably that a flat sounding board would project the sound better out the sound hole. And the main thing was, it's just a bigger guitar. This guitar is 16 inches wide. This is a little over 14. You just held them up, Which guitar do you think's louder, bigger, better? Just on the basis of looks, it would be this one. But in the day with gut strings, real gut, and this one would probably be strung with piano wire because there were very few guitars made for steel strings in that day. This one would blow away a Martin. And the reason Orville went with steel strings because the main instrument of the day was the mandolin. So the guitar was seen, I believe in Orville's eyes, more as an accompaniment for a larger mandolin group. So it had to be loud, and it had to have steel strings to blend in with mandolin sound. Orville made a few guitars, a few mandolins. They began to catch on. 5 guys came to Orville and they formed the Gibson Mandolin Guitar Company right at the end of 1902. Now, Orville was not a managing partner, but he received the first issue of stock. And Gibson quickly made changes in this design, no doubt leading to Orville's frustration. They raised the bridge, forcing them to have to anchor the strings in a tailpiece. That put more pressure on the top and gave the guitar more volume. And they started carving the back also into an arch shape rather than this flat shape. Very quickly, the Gibson Company guitars didn't resemble Orville's very much. His frustration over his invention just ruined his life. Left the job, sold his stock to his friendly barkeeper, and was not heard from except in city directories. Orville spent some time in an asylum also. I would guess there are probably no more than 25 surviving Orville instruments, and that's probably a generous estimate. I think I've seen maybe half that many. This is where the arch top comes from. Ta-ra-ra, boom-de-ay.